welcome. First off, thank you all in the back for providing a windbreak. So those of you standing in the back, thank you very much. Today is a bittersweet day. It's a great occasion to welcome a new captain, but it's also bittersweet to say goodbye to a great captain and a good friend. To start off the press conference, I'd like to introduce our mayor, Mayor R. Rex Parris.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming. You know, this is really an historic day in many respects. And the reason for that is because all of you know in law enforcement, it is really hard to go out on a high note, you know, because you're pushing back the wave of all the bad stuff, right? I mean, and so to actually leave on a high note is a rare experience. But in this case, Axel gets to do that. Where else in America has a captain come in and from the day he started until the day he left, we saw crime just plummet in this city. And that is a testament to Axel that I think that he'll be proud of the rest of his life. It's certainly something that we're going to be proud of, to have him as our captain and to have led this fight in the just exemplary fashion that he did. When I first met Axel, you know, I grew up in the 70s. And when I met Axel, I said to Mark, I go, boy, he looks awfully conservative to me. And then I met Bob. And looks can truly be deceiving, because oftentimes conservativeness is equated with lack of innovation and a lack of new ideas and blazing new trails. And that's unfortunate, because both of these two guys have exemplified that in ways that are truly changing America. What Bob has done with that gang task force in the Valley is truly remarkable. I mean, they actually sat down, and the sheriff's department came together, and they figured out, how to do this differently, because whatever we've been doing in the past isn't working. And they came up with truly new, innovative, astonishing ways to do it. And as a result, we're seeing gangs slowly but surely disappear in this valley. And I think when we come up here again and we have another retirement and a new captain coming in, we're not even going to be talking about gangs, because I think they're going to be that effective. From the city of Lancaster's point of view, we're extremely gratified that Bob is going to be the captain. I think that because of his experience of working with both Lancaster and Palmdale on that joint task force, he's going to be able to bring the two cities together. He's going to be able to continue a level of cooperation that the sheriff's department has always had, but unfortunately the rest of us have not. And I think by example, we're going to be seeing some improvements in regards to that. When we had an interview with Bob, we walked away astonished with just some of the ideas that he's willing to try and experience as a new way of doing law enforcement that is without mercy to the bad guys that hurt people, but at the same time provide an outlet before they get that bad, so that we don't have to be putting them in prison. And I think that's a balanced approach that is sorely needed, but we just really don't know how to do yet. And I think we're going to blaze that trail right here in Lancaster. And I think it's going to spread. I think we're going to change the nation as a result of these two guys. And with that, I would like to introduce the person who's primarily responsible, and that's Chief Neal. If you could come on up. You know, the chief, nobody, we oftentimes look at law enforcement as we don't see the intellectual side of it. Do you know he has a degree in library science, a master's degree in library science? I mean, he's truly a brilliant guy who has brought total new techniques and a new way of looking things to this department, and we're glad we have you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Boy, he changed the nature of my spiel here. I was going to start off by saying division chiefs don't matter. I am the division chief of Region 1. I work with Lancaster, Palmdale, and 6 other stations. And when things work as well as they have been in Lancaster since Carl Dealey was here, and through the time Axel's been here, and as well as I know they're going to work with Bob, you won't hear that much from me. I come up and visit, and I see things going well, and I talk to Mark now and then, but Mark rarely has to call me and say, hey, Chief, there's a problem with the captain I can't deal with. He didn't do it with Carl or Axel, and I know he won't be doing it with Bob. So I'm actually representing the sheriff today, and I want to make sure he gets credit for his part in this. I know Rex was very generous with his credit to me, and I'm a cog in the big wheel and all that, but the truth is Sheriff Baca cares about this valley vitally, as he's proven many, many times, and as he would be proving again today by being here if he didn't have a conflict that was very serious. I know he planned to try to come up for this press conference, and he delegated it to me at the last minute because something's come up. But Sheriff Baca is very much involved in the management of both these stations in the best possible way for a sheriff to do it, and that's providing a resource cushion underneath the captains who are doing all the real police administration, and the deputies and civilians at Lancaster Station are doing all the real police work. So the sheriff's here in spirit. He very much deserves credit for what's been happening up here. He was at the original meeting back several years ago when the Antelope Valley crime fighting initiatives that Bob Johnson was overseeing recently was born and created. We have to give a ton of credit to the city of Lancaster for both of these two guys' past and current success or future success, because the city's been an incredible partner, and you've probably heard the story many a time, but it bears repeating that under the leadership of Rex Paris and with the help of city manager Mark Bozigian, Lancaster has supported both financially and in a lot of other ways, emotionally and even spiritually, the efforts of crime fighting in this station area tremendously and almost unprecedentedly in the county. The contract increases alone, which are just the financial part, have been very, very significant to this effort. But the level of cooperation, the support, the volunteering to become the technology station of the Sheriff's Department, where we're testing a lot of new things because Lancaster Station and Lancaster City asked for that distinction, is unprecedented in terms of the support we need to do a really effective job. I'd like to introduce one other person who won't be speaking because I'm taking all this time, but that's Anthony LaBerge, my commander. Give him a round of applause, because he deserves it as much as I do. I don't know if he's on the speaking circuit here, but Anthony is the commander who works with me and oversees what both Bob Johnson will be doing as the AV, as the Lancaster Station captain, and what he had been doing in that task force approach that we've been using so successfully. So Anthony's going to be a team player with both these guys, or with Bob Johnson, no longer with Axel, of course, which I want to say a couple more things about, but also with Don Downton, who is going to be the replacement for Bob Johnson in the Antelope Valley Crime Fighting Initiative Task Force role. I'm going to be darn sorry to see Axel go. He's been a great friend since 1996 when I officially met him on a project we were working on. And that project is part of the reason why I was working with Mark Bozigian, I guess 3 years ago now, to see to it that Axel had a shot at interviewing at this station. And he's exceeded my fondest expectations for what he could do to replace Carl, who was great in his own way. So we're really sorry to see Axel go, and the only real consolation is sitting right here next to Rex Paris. And I thank you for your attention, and I would like to introduce Axel now to say a few words to the group. Thanks, Axel.
Well, I'll try to get through this as quickly as possible. I noticed there's a lot of very nice looking hairdos that are getting blown all over the place right now, so we'll get through this. Today, for me personally, the phrase, all good things come to an end, really strikes me as kind of appropriate. A lot of good things have happened in my 3 years as captain of Lancaster Station, and I'm particularly proud of the solid progress we've made in lowering the local crime rate. And I think during the last 3 years, we're down a little over 30% where the overall Part 1 crime rate is concerned. Great sense of pride for me. Now, I'd like to stand here and take credit for this progress, but the truth is, this has been a true team effort. When the sheriff called me several years ago and told me, Axel, I'm promoting you and I'm sending you to Lancaster Station, I sensed at that time that I was joining a great team, and how right I was. Mayor Paris and the entire City Council has been unwavering in their support for public safety, and I'm proud to have had the opportunity to work with them. They're simply an extremely dedicated bunch. A magnificent city council in my opinion. I'm proud to have had the opportunity to to work with this very energized and diverse community. Our residents have pulled together in hundreds of business and neighborhood watch organizations working with us in law enforcement to take ownership of their neighborhoods. That making a better life for all, except maybe our thinning population of gangsters and other criminals out here in Lancaster. And I'm honored, really honored, to have worked with our Lancaster Station team, the entire team, our professional staff, our volunteers and boosters, our hardworking and dedicated deputies, and I'm truly going to miss them. Daily contact with such quality people will be my toughest loss as I move on to the next phase of life. The good news of the day, of course, is that our new captain is Bob Johnson. Bob's a quality member of the Sheriff's Department and a fabulous choice for this job. Having worked closely with Bob over the last few years as he headed the Antelope Valley Crime Fighting Initiative, I've come to know him as a man of integrity, outstanding work ethics, and a true concern for the quality of life out here in the Antelope Valley. Under his leadership, I anticipate that Lancaster is going to continue to make huge strides in the area of public safety. And I want to thank you very, very much for the support I've received during my tenure here, but we all know the job's not done. But our team out here is intact and strong, and I believe with all my heart that the future's bright. Progress is going to be made. Thank you very much. I appreciate all you've done. Thank you, Rex. And now I'd like to introduce our new captain, Bob Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor Paris, Chief Tyler, Captain Anderson. I have to take you back 25 years to tell you a little story that I think is important to what's brought us here today. 25 years ago, almost to the day, I was standing in a parking lot down at the Sheriff's Academy in Whittier. And the most intimidating man I had ever met was standing inches away from me, demanding that I declare my loyalty to law enforcement and public safety, continually drilling into me, did I really want to be a deputy sheriff? And as I repeatedly said, sir, yes, sir, I never once imagined that someday I would be standing here inheriting the job from the man that really taught me my values, and that man is Axel Anderson. So thank you. I have to say, this promotion process is extremely humbling because I know there's been so many great sheriff's leaders that have stood here before me, and I have no doubt there will be several more to follow. I can't express the words adequately that express how I feel, the thanks and the gratitude for giving me this opportunity to be the captain of Lancaster Station and the chief of police for the largest city in the Antelope Valley. I'm truly blessed on that. I feel blessed from the standpoint, like that was mentioned, that I'm becoming part of a team that has worked relentlessly over the last several years in reducing crime within the city of Lancaster and the unincorporated areas. Since 2006, the violent crime within the Lancaster Station area has declined 37%. In fact, over that same time period, all major categories of crime have been reduced by at least 20%. Captain Anderson and his team have been successful in reducing the crime rate each year under his command, and I have no desire to have that trend change under mine. In fact,
It is my intention to not only continue with all the practices and strategies that are in place, but to intensify them through technology and innovation. I want Lancaster Station to be considered not only the research and development station as it is, but also the Apple computer of law enforcement. Always looking for ways to better serve our citizens and our businesses within the community. Always looking at how we can be more effective and strategic in utilizing our resources and doing so as efficiently as possible. There's no reason why the residents of Lancaster and the unincorporated areas cannot live in the safest communities of America. I believe the partnerships are in place, as it was mentioned, and I believe we are ready to continue moving forward to not only ensure the safety, happiness, and overall well-being, but just the quality of life for ourselves, our families, and our neighbors. To those who share this desire, expectation, and actual belief in the constitutional right that we have to live in a crime-free community, we will strengthen our ties. You have my assurance as the captain of Lancaster Station that we will always support you and we will always be firm in our commitment to keep you safe. As Ronald Reagan, and I say Ronald Reagan because this man idolized him, stated in his inaugural address of '81, we will match loyalty with loyalty. We will strive for mutually beneficial relations. And as for the enemies, those who would be our adversaries, they will be reminded that peace is the highest aspiration of the American people. Well, those words still ring true today in our own communities. With that being said, I want to be explicitly clear on my next point, so there's no misunderstanding. For anyone who chooses not to become engaged in the betterment of this community and chooses to continue preying on others through criminal acts, we have the resources in place, standing behind me, around us, to not only find them, to arrest them, to prosecute them, and ultimately incarcerate them as needed. If I need to be any clearer, that means any gang member that commits a violent crime in our jurisdiction, our gang investigators will forever pursue you, and along with our gang enforcement team. Career criminals, our detectives will find you, and they will prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law with support of a very effective burglary suppression team. Parolees living in our neighborhoods, we will constantly be checking you for compliance with our top team. And for the rest, as evident in today's paper, we have our very specialized LANCAP team that will pretty much do anything else that we ask of them. All of these teams, as well as every member in patrol, will be aided by highly trained crime analysts, both from the City of Lancaster and the Sheriff's Department, who have access to the most modern technology available today in detecting crime trends and tracking criminal activity. There will be more about the advancement in technology in the very near future and how we plan on using it to keep the criminals at bay. Even though this community has experienced several years of crime reduction, let's not become complacent in our actions, but elevate our expectations. We all have a part to play because no one individual or even entity can undertake public safety alone. So I ask you to join me and contribute in any way that's possible, whether it's through being a station volunteer, a booster, a reserve, or for our the Explorer program, or even if it's just providing crime tips. We all welcome you to be part of this team. Help make Lancaster a community where criminals have nowhere to hide, no allies willing to harbor them, where their behavior is just not tolerated. We should take pride, without question, in the accomplishments that have been made over the last several years, but there is still much to do. So let us continue moving forward together, strengthening our partnerships, developing synergy along the way, until we have taken these communities where they have the right to be, the safest in America. Thank you. I'm extremely happy to be here, and I've never been so excited in my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. You know, I wish Sheriff Baca had been here today because he's left us in a bad position, actually. A couple years ago, he came to town and he said that he would lower the Part 1 crimes to 300 per 10,000. That was truly an impossible statement. You know, I thought it was, you know, I mean, I love Lee, but sometimes Lee says things that can't be achieved. And I thought perhaps that might be one of them. And he promised the impossible and then he delivered it, which is truly remarkable in itself. But now he's left us without a goal, you know, and that's a terrible place to be. You know, we can either go up or we can go down. And so on behalf of the city of Lancaster, Bob, I'd like to tell your department and the Lancaster station, we need a new goal. I think that it's realistic to bring it down to 200. And we will bear any criticism, we will fight any lawsuit, and we will give you whatever financial support we can possibly muster if you will join with us in doing that. It's possible, it's doable, you've already achieved the impossible, so why stop now? And I can't think of a better leader to take us there. We owe the sheriff a debt of gratitude for bringing you to us. And is Christy here? Christy Johnson, where is she? You're going to have to say goodbye to him for a while. He's going to be really busy. Okay. Thank you so much for coming.